So we're going to do this tour pretty quickly because it's super warm in here. I just opened the tent flaps, but it's still, what, 33.6 degrees. So yeah, we're going to do it quite fast, and if I need to take breaks, then I will do that, and I will come back, and hopefully you won't notice too much. So, this is my new grow tent. I'll give you a little bit of a pan before we get sort of fully into it. Not everything is in here, which is why it still looks relatively tidy. I'd say about 50% of my plants are in here at the moment. The rest of the plants are sort of out in the open space around the flat, and some of them are still in the big storage containers like this, which I use to transport everything here. So my Nepenthes, most of my Hoya are not in here yet. This is like, these two shelves are the only Hoya that I've brought in here so far. But hopefully over the next couple of weeks I'll find space for more. I just wanted to give you like a quick breakdown of what I have in here, how things are doing, and if you have questions about any specific plant, just let me know down in the comments below. Okay, so starting here, I've been looking at this for a little while. This is the moss wool that I've shown you before. So like you can see, it's growing pretty well. This new VARIEGATED leaf is just gorgeous. It's fully hardened now, and I think there's a new one coming through. But yeah, that started from a single tiny leaf, so I'm really happy with that. This Gigas is doing great as well. Like, the size of the leaves is really picking up, which is exciting. Obviously it's gone past the moss wool, so I'm going to have to propagate it at some point. Some Ushanum, some Varicosum. I pulled it a little bit further back from the light than I had it in the previous tent, so this is the bleaching that was happening before on this leaf, on the Melano, and since it's been here, it much prefers it. So speaking of light, I have two lights in here. So I have the TS2000, this is, which is the main light. I have this one set relatively high. And then I have the TS1000 over there, and that's pretty low. So this whole side of the tent is much lower light than this side. So when I do move my Nepenthes in here, I'll have my Nepenthes over this side, and ideally, long term, I'll have more sort of Anthurium and low light plants here, but I haven't fully sorted out what's going where yet. Down from there, I have that big trough thing, which is just a prop box. There's loads of stuff going on in there. I have one of my MONSTERA aurea. Most of the aurea are out and about in the flat at the moment because they don't care about these high temperature conditions. It doesn't matter for them. But I wanted to try a couple in here. There's a Florida Beauty with some lovely variegated leaves at the front there, and then it also has some green leaves, which is fine. Philodendron linamii, which I swapped for a while ago now. It's doing pretty well. It had a panic when I repotted it into this plastic pot. It lost a bunch of roots, but it's just getting back. Lost a little bit of leaf size, but still really pretty. So I'm happy with that. So this is the brightest area of the tent. We've got HOYA MICHELE, that really splashy one. I've got HOYA cystiantha splash back there, as well as a GUNUNG GADING. I never know how to say that second one. Is it GUNUNG GADING or GUNUNG GADING? Let me know if you know. Then we have at the front HOYA wallichiana, which I think had mites at one point, which is why there is some curling to the older leaves, but the new ones are looking good. And then we have some HOYA Waiatii, or HOYA kentiana, sorry, HOYA kentiana laurelin, and just the normal variegated one, although I think there's a lot of debate about whether they're actually different plants. So then we have the HOYA SULAWESIANA, which is like a current fave of mine, a really beautiful big old vine growing out there. And behind that, this pink one is HOYA VERTICILLATA, or Warburgii, really beautiful pink splash. Then this is a BIAKENSIS, this lovely one, really nice colouring to the leaves. And behind that is some HOYA Carnosa Wilburgraves, just propagating. Shelf below, we have, what's this? My brain's not working, sorry, it's really warm. We have a HOYA Rinzii Borneo, which is lovely. I spoke about this pretty recently, really beautiful plant. Down there, some more of the Michele cuttings with some good splash. I have some more with slightly less good splash in other places. Carnosa Grey Ghost is this one, this first one here, and next to it is a Peninsularis, HOYA Peninsularis. It used to be called SP Perak Teddy Bear, I think. But it hasn't done anything for ages. I almost lost it. You can see how little of the node is left there, but it's just putting out new leaves, which is amazing. So it survived. And then a Polyneura Silver, New Guinea Ghost, some of these Nicholsonia New Guinea Ghost. This is a little fraction of the plant that, like I spoke about in my previous video, it got root mealy, so I had to chop it all up. And it's still really squishy, which means that the roots are not happy, but they're not dying, so I think they're just taking their time to establish. I have a couple in pond here, I have a few in that prop box down there, and then I have a couple in water elsewhere. This is Monstera Belmux Flame. Sorry, as you can tell, my brain is lagging a little bit. I got this a few months ago from our department. These 3 leaves are new, and I'm hoping that it's going to give me some fenestration soon, because they're just spectacular plants. This wire is getting all over the place. Moving on, this is the mother plant of the Wilbur-Graves with some lovely new splashy leaves coming through there. Really easy, really lovely plant. Definitely recommend if you're trying to get into Hoya. This is one of my Philodendron ilsemanii. It has good variegation here, some nice little pinky variegation there, but the new leaf is green. That happens all the time with ilsemania, so if you have one that's reverting and unreverting all the time, that's normal. I think it's very dependent on external conditions. So still trying to work out what this one likes, but I'm confident the variegation will come back. How do I pronounce this? This is Kyrtosperma johnstonii, which is really beautiful. I haven't fully worked out how to grow it. At the moment I have it sitting in sort of a semi-hydro, passive hydro situation, just in the perlite it arrived in. But I might change that around, we'll see how it does. Back here, the Cressipetulata Splash. It's very lovely Hoya, I've spoken about this loads. It's vining all the way up onto this shelf. This happens all the time with my Hoya, they just decide that the shelves are their trellises because I don't give them proper trellises. Another Carnosa Grey Ghost here, and then AH074 with those super silvery leaves. Really lovely Hoya. Down here is the Clemenciaurum or the Af Clemenciaurum, Kennegiana Nugget. I have the Alba Marginata in one of the tubs as well, which is really beautiful at the moment. And then this is the Nova Ghost, which is doing great. Lovely little vine coming out there. Dropping down, let's get this. Ooh, it's so sweaty. Philodendron UPI, this is the tip cutting I took from my main plant a little while ago, and it's definitely doing better than the lower part of the plant. I will show you that in a bit. Yeah, just such a fast growing, really quick maturing plant, like the sides of this leaf. Really nice. Then Monstera Adansonia Archipelago Ghost is what it's being called at the moment. It's literally just called that because of the white leaves and the way it kind of, well, this has nothing to do with the name, but you can see the central vein is quite green there. And in lower light, the green kind of bleeds out through the leaf, so you get this minty colour, which is really nice. Then we have Monstera Carstinianum or Spaperu. I don't think anyone really calls them Carstinianum anymore, because that's not the name. But it's the variegated one, so there's a bunch of propagations from a mother plant. Some of them haven't sent out shoots yet, some of them are still rooting. But yeah, just have them sitting there in pon until they do something. Florida Beauty, this is the only one I've ever put in pon, or the only one that survived in pon, and it really hasn't liked it so far. This leaf is not happy. The new growth has come through fully variegated apart from that little splash, but we'll see what happens with the next few. Yeah, I don't know what it is about this one in pon, it just hasn't really enjoyed it as much as I expected it to. Anyway, then we have base cutting on my strawberry shake. I had to cut it back because it was losing its variegation, basically. A few Adansonia aurea up front here, they're all going to be going in the next couple of days. And then in there, what is in here? Ring of Fire, some Carnosa Grey Ghost, and some more strawberry shake. And at the back, those 3 little things are different Anthurium seedlings. So in here we have Anthurium red crystallinum, in there's some Vitarifolium, that's the one. And in there, either Magnificum or Crystallinum, I can't remember which. Bottom shelf. There are 3 Philodendron Domesticum there. They got a little bit battered, but they're really easy going. So if you have one and it suffers a little bit, don't panic. Like, after being battered, they just get growing straight away. One of my Philodendron bicolor down here. I really like how long and thin this leaf is. It's really pretty. Tip cutting of Domesticum, which is going to someone soon. Some more, as you can see, this is the strawberry shake. It totally lost its variegation. There's a tiny bit on that leaf. So you never know what's going to happen with the new growth, but I'm not really hoping for anything from those. At the back, this is a really lovely Philodendron, one of my favorites at the moment. This is the Philodendron SP Napo, and yeah, I got it as this single leaf at the same time as I got my Belmux Flame, and it's just grown really, really fast. All of the leaves that have come through, I think they're immature, which is why they're like this, but they're a little bit velvety. This one definitely isn't velvety, so I think it will disappear as they mature, but they're really lovely at the moment. The colouring, just the growth pattern, everything about it I think is really, really nice. So that's those shelves. While we're here, let's just do this little grow wall. This is my least favourite of all of them, just in terms of like the aesthetic, but it's got this massive Florida Beauty growing on it. I say Florida Beauty, but it's like fully green at the top. There is definitely variegation still in it, like these leaves lower down are really variegated, and I don't know if you can see on the stem, there is some variegation there, but it's just not coming through regularly. And the only thing I'm really excited about on here is the Ilsamanii. So that's basically the only reason I haven't taken this wall apart yet, because this Ilsamanii really loves it. It's got a new leaf coming through there, and it's just growing really, really nicely. So until it stops enjoying it, I will keep it on here. And it's fine, like I'm sure it will grow into itself over time. So yeah, lovely new, oh look, just coming through, that Florida Beauty leaf. So hopefully that will be variegated. Coming over to this side now. Ooh, it's definitely warm in here. Right, let's start with these shelves. Here, this first one here is my Philodendron biliaceae variegated. It's getting pretty big, like really nice size on the newer leaves. This is my favourite leaf at the moment. It's a little bit smaller, but it's really gorgeous. And that's my intention this year, just to let it really, really grow. It'll definitely need repotting soon, because it's been in this pot for well over a year. And you can see the roots are just like spilling out of it. So the time has come for a repot, so I'll do that as soon as this new leaf is hardened. Then I have my green variegated large form Monstera. Just a strange order there that I recently repotted. I think it needs some water. This leaf is looking a little bit sad, but it's starting to grow. There's a little bit of like a nub there, where the new leaf is coming out, which is cool. Then this guy, this is my Monstera Constellation Sport or Monstera Platinum. I'm not really sure on the idea. It doesn't look very much like a lot of the platinum that I see on social media, but who knows. It is just spectacular. Like, obviously this old leaf is a bit gross because it's dying. It's been around for a very long time, but this new leaf, it just is like luminescent to me. It's really, really gorgeous. I put up a poll on my story to see who thinks it looks sick and who doesn't. Like, I get that people think it looks sick. I can see that. But, it's just really, really special. I think this might be one of my favourite leaves at the moment. It's not necessarily my top plant overall, but this leaf is just really, really beautiful. And I'm excited for some more fenestrations. Down here we have a little caramel marble, disaster story, propagated it for a trade, and it really did not like it. So this is all I have left of it. Hopefully it will grow into something beautiful. And then down here there are 4 Queen Anthurium seedlings that I grew from seed. My Ace of Spades Magnificum that I got from Plant Attic, and then my Bipennifolium variegated, which is doing super nicely. A little bit too much light it had before, but it will do better in this space, I think. Random Monstera aurea, a Philodendron esmeraldens there, and then there's basically nothing else on these shelves. This is loads of space that I can use. My variegated Spaparu mother plant, my bit of Philodendron glorious there, and right at the bottom a Philodendron ring of fire. And that is it for that little section there. Like I said, I will be adding things pretty quickly to this, so any open space will be taken. Unfortunately, I don't have space to get anything new. I already have the stuff to fill it. Okay, let's start up here. This is the Pallidiflorum, my beautiful Pallidiflorum. As you can see, it's not massively enjoyed the move. There's a lot of yellowing, a lot of yellowing happening. Like that leaf, it has been ready to come off for ages. But yeah, I think that's just because I had it in too small a pot for ages. When I repotted it, which I just did recently, the roots were fully like attached to the pot. There was no substrate left. So it had just been so happy in there for so long that I had been reluctant to pot it on, but it really, really needed it. So it's got a new leaf coming through at the moment. I'm hoping that it won't panic too much, but yeah, it's such a gorgeous plant. Underneath that, I have this grow wall, which is the most recent one I made. Nothing super exciting happening here for the moment. That's the Polyneurus silver. We've got Dischidia imbricata. We've got some Magravia. This is Hederaceum var oxycardum variegated. Some Belmox fantasy here and here. a bit of Philodendron bicolor, which is doing pretty good. Anthurium hybrid and Patriciae, Foraminifera, Obliqua var Amazonas. Yeah, we'll see what it does long term. I'm excited for it to fill out a little bit more. Let's go down. This Monstera Adansonii aurea I had in the kitchen, it was doing fine. It was putting out new growth, but it was getting smaller and it started to brown a little bit. So I've just decided to bring it back here to give it a little boost. I haven't decided if I'll propagate it or not because it's a little bit ugly. It got battered from the move, like a lot of tears in the fenestrations and stuff down here as well. So yeah, I'll have a little think, but for now it's just in here growing up the side of the tent. I've got the top cutting of the MELANOCHRYSUM that I initially had on that on the first moss wall you saw. I mean, the base of the plant is still there. Yeah, it's not doing amazingly. It's not dead. It's got a new leaf that's just coming through. I air layered all of the nodes just to give it maximum like water uptake when I cut it because the roots were very, very small. So I'm hoping it doesn't lose too much maturity, but I'm imagining it will lose a little bit. That's okay. My Philodendron Patriciae, the larger one, gorgeous, gorgeous plant, continuously suffering with like all sorts of issues, but it has a new leaf coming through, so that's good. As you can see, this is a new tent. I forgot to talk about this. It's got white sides, very different from the silver one I had before. Loving it so far, apart from like how easy it is, one, to see the folds and creases on the sides of the tent, and two, how visible like everything I drop on the floor becomes. It just gets really, really dirty really fast, so forgive me for that. Philodendron Majestic, this is the largest one I have at the moment. It's funny because I cut them all back to the same size, so all of the Majestics were single nodes. Wait, I think this might have had two actually. Yeah, you can see there. But they were more or less the same size, so it was 1 or 2 nodes. But this one that was rooted in pon just came back so much faster than the others, which is nice. And the new leaf is looking beautiful. This is going to get a lot bigger than this. They really, really expand. Still very, very soft. Super beautiful. Down here we have Philodendron CORSINIANUM, which is always a favorite. Really velvety tops, super intense red backing. This is that lovely hybrid. Big no ID velvet Anthurium there that I got from our department. Again, really, really gorgeous. It gets damaged so easily when it's coming out. Obviously all of this is transport damage like these, so I'm hoping the next leaf will look gorgeous. Behind that there's an Anthurium vilenaorum. Down here we have the base cutting of my Philodendron bicolor. Then there's the tip cutting of my Philodendron bicolor, so the largest part of the plant I have at the moment. I'm hoping to get this really, really big. I'm going to get it up on either a moss wall or a really thick pole at some point. Got some Philodendron El Choco Red, a Philodendron verrucosum there, a Cecestis mirabilis, Aglaonema pictum tricolor, and Philodendron brantianum back at the very back there. So yeah, a little bit of like a mishmash of plants. There are some that I'll move out and others that I'll move in to replace them. Like, I don't know, some of these don't need to be in here. I have other spaces that they'll do better in. But they're here for now. Second shelf up, we have 2 Syngonium, there we go, Syngonium red spot tricolor. Yeah, this one's not doing so good. I'm going to have to check the roots at some point. It's really slowed down, so I'm wondering whether something is happening there. Doesn't look like root rot from the outside, but you never know. And this one is looking really, really nice. I love the dark leaves on that. Then we have the base cutting of the Obliqua Amazonas, which gets those really lovely elongated fenestrations on the leaves. Really nice. Back there, Anthurium LUXURIANS, very special as always. Here we have a Homalamina. I'm not going to ID it because no one can tell me the exact ID, so I'm not going to say anything yet until I know for sure, but it's got really lovely red backing and super nice texture to the top of the leaf. Then here, this is one of my Anthurium hybrids. This is the, well, it's supposedly a Papillilamina hybrid, but who knows. And behind it, very sad looking Anthurium debilis. This hated the move so much. As you can see, it's just about alive still, but oh my god, did it hate it. So I'm going to have to rehab this quite hard. I might put this in one of the tubs actually, just to give it really concentrated humidity. Philodendron LUXURIANS base cutting, which is doing fine. Obliqua Peruvian form with a really long stolon. The runner goes all the way over to there. Obviously I will root it into something at some point. And next to that we have the Obliqua
Bolivian form, which is growing so much faster than I expected. I'm going to have to get it a pole really quick. That leaf is looking really long. Nice. And at the back there's an Anthurium forgetii, which I forget about sometimes. Nice. Second from last shelf. Like I said, there's not a huge amount of stuff in here yet. This is the base cutting of the UPI, which is a little bit sad. You can see where I cut it down there. It's put out all this new growth since that chop, but the growth hasn't really gotten any bigger. This is the latest leaf that it put out in this tent, I think. What's that? I thought that was a pest, but no. But as you can see, it's yellowing a little bit, which is normal. Like, in itself, a yellowing leaf isn't a bad thing. But just the fact that it's slowed down so much, and I can't see as much new root growth as I used to. There's a little bit there. So I'll just keep an eye out on that. Oops. Then we have Anthurium Wendlingeri, which, yeah, it needs to be repotted really, really fast. I've just been putting it off. It's so beautiful. This is a new leaf, which is still a little bit soft. So it's got some growing to do. The previous leaf was beautiful. Such a nice strap leaf, Anthurium. Behind that, there's a small Vichii, which is doing good. Behind that, one of my crystallinums that I grew from seed. Then Anthurium PELTIGERUM, which I've had for such a long time and has done nothing. I've had this for the same amount of time as I had my Majestic, and it's just been a fussy little plant. Don't know what I'm not giving it that it wants, but whatever it is, it's not getting it. There's an Anthurium radicans, back a little cutting of Regale, and then we get to the top. Last little bit for today, we're almost there. This is Anthurium warocreanum crossed with waterburianum. Lovely big hybrid, super dark velvety leaves. New one coming through here. I'm hoping it's going to get massive. The lobes are looking good, which is exciting. Some Esmeraldens cuttings, a bunch of them in there. Belmox Fantasy, which I took out of a prop box because of getting too sticky and wet in there. Another little prop box. A green Ilsamanii. I've spoken about this before, but like this happens to Ilsamanii all the time. As you can see, there is some variegation there, but it just disappears and then it comes back. And I don't know why. So it's perfectly possible that that leaf there coming through will be super variegated with no sign previously in the plant, and then it might disappear for ages. Yeah, it's interesting. Then an Aurea that's going tomorrow or the day after, I think. And then up here another Majestic. And this, like in the immature, in the smaller Majestic cuttings that I had, the leaves get this incredible yellow, orange, red, pink colour. It's just amazing. The backing is so intense. And this only happens in the smaller cuttings, so it's kind of a thing to enjoy when you have an immature plant. Because when they get more mature, as you can see, they're just, I mean, it's still gorgeous, but it's definitely less like fiery. So yeah, that's really nice, that pink Majestic. And then here, I don't know how this pink princess crept in here. It's doing really badly because I don't do anything for it. But maybe I'll leave it here and see what it does. And to finish off, we have my big Magnificum, which I've had for ages. And I keep chopping leaves off because it gets too big and gangly and unruly. But it's looking quite nice at the moment. Hopefully it puts out an inflow soon so I can make some hybrids. That'd be really nice. So yeah, that is my little step out, so I can give you a little sweep again. Little grow tent. I will keep you updated on this new white, I forgot to talk about that grow wall. I mean, there's nothing much to say. It's just growing out, still not looking super nice. But yeah, I'll definitely update you on that at some point in the future, because there's some cool plants nestled in there. What was I saying? Yeah, I'll update you on how I feel about this white backing. So far, it's super good. Like, everything's growing really fast. But also that's because it's summertime and the temperatures are so high in here. So like I was saying, sorry I got interrupted by the doorbell. I will let you know what I think about this new tent. I definitely don't like the immediate look of the inside as much as the previous one. I do like the outside of it, which I will show you at some point. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, thank you so much for watching. Check out my Instagram if you want to see updates on all of these plants. I'll post there pretty regularly. Subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and I will see you very soon. Goodbye!